Part 47. Beast Tamer, Divine Beast Tamer. Author, I am Lao Wu. Chapter 468. Asshole. What are you talking about? Lin Chen had a smile on his face, but his eyes were terrifyingly cold. An ancestor-level existence almost completely annihilated Lin Chen. How could he let go of these angel legions so easily? Are you kidding me? Do you really think Lin Chen is a vegetarian? In the God Burial Star territory, above the starry sky, there are angels crucified in the void. The originally glorious and sacred angels are now dripping with golden blood in the starry sky, like flying flags crucified in the starry sky. It's like a scene of doomsday lament. Kill. Lin Chen's eyes were cold, and the 9 sources of power gathered in his hand. The god-killing war spear emerged. Pure power and pure sources were constantly surging. The laws of the Great Road were intertwined, and the stars were flowing around. Gods and demons fell. The terrifying vision of bloodshed is emerging. The face of the temple angel is solemn, and there is a trace of fear in his eyes. He knows Lin Chen's strength, and it is terrifying. Although he is only a middle-ranked god, there are already invincible ones at the level of gods. Gesture. Holy light, the angels of the temple roared, and billions of holy lights gathered around them. Die. Lin Chen's eyes were like lightning, piercing through eternity, interweaving endless killing intent. It destroyed the galaxy. For Lin Chen, as long as he is not the ancestor, everything can be suppressed. It is only a matter of time. If he wants to erase it, he needs to a certain amount of time. But this amount of time is worth it to Lin Chen. It would not be a pity to waste more time to destroy a semi-ancestral existence. You haven't taken action yet. Nives looked at the Lord of Desire and the Lord of Envy with cold eyes. The Templar angel is now at a disadvantage. If it continues, he may really die. How are we going to take action and end it ourselves? No kidding, we are not you hypocritical guys, the Lord of Desire said disdainfully. Is this actually the case? Of course not. The combat power Lin Chen is showing now is basically invincible in the realm of gods. It seems that he is really in a hurry, and there is the blessing of Yan Huang. Just kidding, even if they are, she also doesn't want to face an existence like Yan Huang. It's not like the Great Lord will never fall. In fact, Abyss doesn't know how many great lords have fallen. And she doesn't agree with the hypocrisy that Lord Desire said. No matter, it is the Abyss and the heaven are all the same, no one can say anything about the other. This guy is indeed trouble, the jealous monarch murmured and looked at Lin Chen with a glint in his eyes. But it's not that simple to solve. By the way, aren't there those guys in your desire cage? The Lord of Jealousy asked the Lord of Desire. Ha! Those things are my treasures. Lord Desire looked at Lord Jealousy with a smile on his face. Lord Jealousy's eyes twitched. Then he looked at Nives, the Archangel of Judgment. Archangel Nives also knew what Lord Jealousy said. What is it? Abominations. Those things that are considered monsters in the Abyss. An original power, the Archangel of Judgment said with a somewhat ugly expression. But people are still a little distressed, the Lord of Desire said coquettishly. I also released a source of power. The figure of the Blade Queen emerged. Count me in. The Lord of the Dark Dimension looked at the Lord of Desire. The Lord of Desire looked at the Lord of Jealousy. I can also make one jealous, Lord said helplessly. Really, since you are all like this, if you don't agree, it seems that I will only take advantage. The Lord of Desire looked at the 5 sources of power in his hand. There was a smile on the corner of his mouth. The corner of the Lord of Jealousy's mouth twitched. What is the source of power? It is something that only a king-level existence can condense, and the birth of a world. Origin, this is the power of origin. Lord of Desire, this is the typical kind of person who gets cheap but still behaves. Come out, my darlings. The Lord of Desire licked his lips. A pink vortex appeared next to the Lord of Desire. A silhouette of steel came out of the vortex. A terrifying giant, covered with metal chains, with 3 eyes and 6 arms, there are dozens of pairs of wings behind it. The body is covered with black scales. It's really not easy. I originally thought you would be perfunctory, but I didn't expect you to just take out everything from the bottom of the box, Jealous Lord said with a hint of surprise. Ha! Isn't this a matter of course? This guy is my treasure, the Lord of Desire said with a smile on his lips. Divine Evil, the giant of 10,000 demons. The ultimate terrifying evil creature that was born in the bloody battle of the abyss. It was born from the blood of various monsters in the abyss. From the place of birth, it is the existence of taboos. This is the evil of God. The terrifying giant moved its steps, and a sound like thunder sounded. The breath of terror filled the air. Lin Chen's eyes were filled with ferocious light as he directly penetrated the body of the temple angel with the god-killing spear in his hand. A black light directly penetrated Xingyu and hit Lin Chen. In an instant, Lin Chen's body collapsed and reorganized. Lin Chen looked towards the direction of the light with an ugly face. A terrifying giant was wrapped in chains. Its 3 scarlet eyes were looking at him. Lin Chen had a trace of solemnity in his eyes. God's evil, Lin Chen was shocked. Lin Chen had known about the existence of the abominations for a long time. Every abomination is terrifying and unusual. This abomination looks even more terrifying. The aura of a superior demon god appears on his body, and a terrifying demonic power emerges from his body. Standing. It was like the source of darkness. The Templar angel's face looked a little ugly, and his body had been blown up countless times. He regrouped again and looked at Lin Chen with incomparable fear. Roar, the galaxy was shattered. The giant demon took terrifying steps, tore through the starry sky, and came directly towards Lin Chen. Like a wild beast, in fact it was the same. It became a toy of the Lord of Desire. How can you think it can be any better? His own sanity has long since collapsed. The current 10,000 demons giant is just a pet. That's all the pets kept by the Lord of Desire. Lin Chen's eyes were solemn, golden light bloomed, and the aura of immortality filled the air. He drank 10,000 demons directly. The giants collided together. Golden and black light bloomed and swept the entire battlefield. The arms of the 10,000 demon giants were broken, and the next moment they were reorganized, and a black divine light burst out from the third eye. The original god between Lin Chen's eyebrows. The magic burst out at the same time. The divine light of destruction was stirring. The galaxy was turbulent, and the endless light dimmed, leaving only the light of destruction. Beast Tamer, Divine Beast Tamer. Author, I am Lao Wu. Chapter 469. Lin Chen's face was a little ugly. Although it was just a preliminary test, Lin Chen already knew the horror of this godly creature in his heart. Neither the physical body nor the divine power can be compared to ordinary high-level gods. Pity, Jealous Lord murmured. What's a pity? The Lord of Desire raised his eyebrows. The potential of this god is very good, but it was ruined by you. Jealous Lord shook his head and said. Cut. The Lord of Desire didn't say anything. In fact, this is the case. This evil deity has no possibility of moving forward. It is basically impossible to move forward unless you get rid of the control of the Lord of Desire. But is that possible? A statue, Great Lord, whoever has eaten has nothing to do, but went back and offended the Great Lord of Desire for a god. And even if he got rid of the control, the god was also destroyed. It will stop here now. The battle is still going on. Lin Chen's brows erupted with bright divine light, and the original power in his hands merged and struck the starry sky. The demonic giant roared, swung the chains on his body with his arms, and directly collided with Lin Chen. The chains shattered, and flesh and blood flew everywhere. The galaxy turned black. Black demonic blood was flowing. Lin Chen was bathed in the black blood, and his body was blooming with divine light, purifying the dirty blood. "Lord, please give me strength, holy judgment," the angel of the temple roared. The endless holy light condensed into a long sword of light. It stabbed directly towards Lin Chen. Lin Chen slightly squinted his eyes and looked at the long sword coming from behind. The sacred halo surrounded and intertwined divine light. "Roll. I don't have time to play with you." Lin Chen held the fist seal with his right hand and said lightly. The golden fist seal penetrated the void. It shattered the sacred sword. Once again, the body of the temple angel was shattered. Then Lin Chen did not stop at all. He quickly appeared in front of the 10,000 demons giant. His fingers intertwined, and an extremely bright light burst out. The aura of chaos emerged. Lin Chen intertwined with the terrifying divine light, and then shattered the body of the 10,000 demons giant. But Lin Chen did not stop. Instead, his whole body was blooming with divine light. The majestic, eternal atmosphere was permeating the air. The 9 origins converged. "Reverse chaos forever," Lin Chen roared loudly, and the demonic sound echoed under the starry sky. The entire star field was completely shattered. "Kill." The body of the giant demon that was reorganized in an instant collapsed again. Its origin was severely damaged, and it was directly torn apart. Time fragments were flying. Lin Chen's whole body was shrouded in divine light, like an immortal divine king. Endless light shined together eternal. "Die!" Lin Chen struck out with a punch across the sky, shattering the origin of the 10,000 demonic giants. The next moment, the souls of the 10,000 demonic giants were fluctuating, and their origins were gathering together, trying to reorganize themselves. "Want to reorganize? Die!" Lin Chen's eyes were as bright as lightning, his right hand was like a claw, and the divine light of order was constantly annihilating the origin of the demon giants. The light of order was surging. Lord Desire's face became ugly. "It seems that your baby is not doing well either," the jealous Lord said with a smile on his lips, but there was boundless murderous intent in his eyes. Lin Chen's body, which was far away in another star field, collapsed. It reorganized instantly. Lin Chen's face became ugly. Just now he felt helpless. The murderous intention locked on him, and he collapsed his body, causing his original intention to destroy the 10,000 demonic giants to be blocked. This gave the 10,000 demonic giants another chance to recover. "You guys," Lin Chen had a smile on his face, but his eyes became colder and colder. "Taking action one after another, you really think I'm easy to bully, right?" The smile on Lin Chen's face became brighter and brighter. His body was immortal, exuding brilliant divine light. He looked at the entire starfield battlefield. One after another, the statues of the law appeared behind Lin Chen, including the evil god, the Zerg, the dragon demon, and finally the condensed dharma of the god king. "Kill for me and plunder the origin. This time, I want to step into the realm of higher gods." Lin Chen's eyes were ruthless. The 4 dharma ministers roared and began to take action. "Come on, even if someone helps you, it's just rubbish." "Even so, what can you do?" Lin Chen looked at the 10,000 demons giant indifferently. Fear is fear, but it does not mean that Lin Chen is really afraid of the evil god. And especially this evil god who has been destroyed by the Lord of Desire. Lin Chen is not afraid at all. "God." The light bloomed, and Lin Chen appeared in front of the 10,000 demons giant at top speed. The golden immortal fist seal once again shattered the body of the 10,000 demons giant. The 4 major dharma signs were also plundering the origin. Lin Chen now completely let go, constantly killings, constantly plundering the origin, replenishing oneself. Walking on the final road to God, reaching the extreme. Complete one's own transformation. The body of the demon giant is constantly falling apart, and the same is true for the angels of the temple. "What a monster! Why are the immortal dragons of every generation so strong?" jealous Lord murmured. "Who knows? This race rose from humble beginnings. Who knows what they have gone through, the Lord of Desire said a little boringly. But then again, why haven't those guys come back yet, the Lord of Desire said with a hint of doubt. How can it be that simple? There are too many people who have returned from Yanhuang, and there are also some ancestor gods in other dimensions. Do you really think they can be wiped out that easily? This takes a long time to fade away, jealous Lord said lightly. Moreover, the strength of Yanhuang is still at its strongest now. It is not that easy to destroy it. The power of time is the most terrifying. To die step by step is the most desperate and interesting thing, isn't it? Jealous Lord said with a smile on his lips. The power of Yanhuang comes from all the Yanhuang people in the Yanhuang Empire. When the Yanhuang people are slowly wiped out, the power of Yanhuang will also fade. This is why they engage in such a war decision. Use the lives of billions of demon gods to slowly destroy the power of Yanhuang and make it decline. Is it worth it? Of course it is worth it. The Yanhuang One is an existence above Zhejian. Although it is a special existence, it is also above the ancestors. If the lives of billions of demon gods can wipe out the Yanhuang Empire, it will be worthwhile for the Abyss Zerg subspace. After all, their military strength can be called truly unlimited. They can consume the Yanhuang Empire without any scruples. For the people of the country, even if 10 are exchanged for 1, it is worth it. Moreover, the lower level Yanhuang people are not yet able to exchange 1 for 10. However, this guy is indeed a trouble. Jealous Lord looked at Lin Chen and narrowed his eyes slightly. Trouble is just one person. Where can trouble go? How much influence can he have on the entire battlefield? The King of Desire said with a smile on his lips. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Beast Tamer, Divine Beast Tamer. Author, I am Lao Wu. Chapter 470. In fact, the Lord of Desire is right. Although Lin Chen's combat power is very terrifying, how much can he control on such a large battlefield? Those are demon gods, and evil gods are not pigs waiting for you to kill them or just stand still and let you beat them. Those are demon gods and evil gods. It's something that wants to eat people, not pigs, and not everyone is like Lin Chen. Most of them can be considered good if they can fight 1 against 2. But it's more about fighting in groups. Not everyone is like Lin Chen, running rampant on the battlefield. Especially for these demon gods, it's like killing a pig. It's impossible, only Lin Chen can do this. Really, Lin Chen looked at the 10,000 demon giants and the Templar angels that were clinging to him in front of him. 2 terrifying existences, one of which borrowed external force to reach the half-ancestor. Although it is a parallel import, no matter where the foundation is placed, it will not be weak. Where to go? One is a god, a taboo existence in itself, and it is also a superior god. How weak can it be? It is a very troublesome thing for Lin Chen and anyone else. Die! Lin Chen had a fierce light in his eyes and shattered the body of the demon giant. Roar! The spirit of the giant demons is roaring and surging. It is gathering boundless demonic nature. Lin Chen has supreme murderous intent in his eyes, evolving into a terrifying world of murderous intent, suppressing it directly. His right hand is like a million rounds of golden sun, pointing towards the angels of the temple suppressed. What a troublesome thing! Lin Chen looked at the angel legion with his own banners under the starry sky with a twinkling in his eyes. The light of order surged. Chains of order burst out directly from Lin Chen's hands. You dare! The Templar angel is furious. These are his angel legions. Lin Chen snorted coldly, his eyes were like lightning, and a chaotic light bloomed between his eyebrows. A terrifying divine light once again shattered the Templar angel's body. Chain of order, passed directly through the body of a noble angel legion. It obliterated its soul and plundered its origin. It was swallowed directly into his own body. The aura on Lin Chen's body was soaring. Something like wings gradually appeared behind him. Alienation. After devouring too many god-level angels, Lin Chen experienced some changes in himself. Alienation is approaching the angels. Cut. Lin Chen's will was like a knife, cutting off the illusory wings on his back. The holy light emerging from his body was suppressed by Lin Chen. This is why Lin Chen didn't devour angels wantonly. Whether they were angels, demons, or evil things, well, they are all different races from humans. If they swallow too much, they will be alienated. Especially if too much is swallowed in a short period of time, this kind of alienation will occur. This is something Lin Chen does not want to see. Especially in a short period of time. In a period of time, Lin Chen has reached the limit from a lower god to a middle god. He has devoured countless demons and evil things in a short period of time, and has reached the middle god without any alienation. This is already incredible. Now again continue to devour the angel legion. Alienation within oneself is inevitable. I don't believe this evil Lin Chen has a fierce light in his eyes, and the demonic power on his body is unparalleled. He is constantly suppressing the angelic origin in his body and improving his strength. This guy is really crazy, the Lord of Desire murmured. In 10 years, this little guy has become really different from the immortal dragons of the past. The jealous king couldn't help but say something. They saw all this. That's because the immortal true dragons in the past have never encountered such a thing, the Lord of Desire said lightly. Yan Huangbailong is really amazing. But that's all, jealous Lord said with murderous intent in his eyes. Lin Chen's whole body was glowing with a divine luster, guiding Lin Chen to become an angel. This is something Lin Chen doesn't want to do. It is impossible for him to give up his human blood and embark on the path of a foreign race. This is something Lin Chen does not want to see. Town, Lin Chen roared, and his long black hair danced in the wind. The sacred luster in his body was suppressed and replaced by golden immortal light. That's it? Continue. Lin Chen looked at the Templar angel and the 10,000 demon giants with a hint of madness in his eyes. Their bodies intertwined and transformed into a terrifying golden luster. He took one step forward and appeared in front of the Templar angel. Pointed out. The laws of order reflected each other. On Lin Chen's fingers. The finger of destruction. Lin Chen said lightly, spitting out 3 words softly. The body of the temple angel collapsed. He disappeared in an instant, leaving his origin undulating in place. His soul was trembling. Lin Chen's strength increased in a short period of time. Although the original power of the semi-ancestral level is a parallel import, it is still a semi-ancestral level existence. Even if it is a parallel import, it is still the same. It cannot be erased so easily. Refining, Lin Chen's 5 fingers were like claws, shrouding the origin of the Templar angel. The light of order stirred up, and it was constantly refining and erasing the origin of the Templar angel. Roar, the demon giant roared in. The dark magic light bloomed. It tore the void and destroyed hundreds of millions of stars. The power was concentrated together. It was just a little energy fluctuation that overflowed. Lin Chen's face was expressionless. No sorrow or joy. He made an immortal fist seal with his right hand. It directly shattered the entire body of the 10,000 demon giants. You can't. If your soul is intact and your intelligence exists, you can fight me. But now you are just an irrational beast with no power, Lin Chen said indifferently. One hand refined the myth of the angel of the temple, and the other hand directly shattered the body of the demon giant. This is unimaginable. Lin Chen's body was filled with an aura of invincibility. Wherever I stand, I feel like an immortal god king. Roar, the body of the 10,000 demon giants has been reorganized again. No matter how many times it is reorganized, it is still the same and the ending will not change, Lin Chen said indifferently, looking at the star field where Lord Desire is. The 9 origins gathered together, holding a spear and directly nailing the demon giant to the void. The demon blood was low. For Lin Chen, all this is a matter of course. Lin Chen knows his own strength best. He was able to walk down and swallowed countless lives. He can be called a great devil. A great devil in the world. He has only reached the current state and strength. The demonic giant is just a toy, although the owner of this toy is the Maharaja. But it is still a toy, and a toy is still a toy after all. If the toys cannot be defeated, how can Lin Chen face the more terrifying enemies behind him, such as those Maharajas? Beast Tamer, Divine Beast Tamer. Author, I am Lao Wu. Chapter 471. You are nothing but a toy, Lin Chen said indifferently, with terrifying brilliance surging in his eyes. The origins gathered in his hands, holding the origin of the Templar Angel in one hand, constantly refining the Holy Templar Angel's soul, which takes time to wear away. Holy Spirit, the Templar Angel resisted very fiercely, but Lin Chen was even more fierce than him. He was unreasonable. The gap in the power of the law forcibly enveloped the Templar Angel. He wanted to wipe it out. The other hand was shining brightly. The extreme stream of light is blooming, and the fragments of time and space are flying, hitting the starry sky. Even a trace of the overflowing wave has torn apart the star field for hundreds of millions of miles. The extremely terrifying power is displayed. The giant demons roar, and the demons behind them, the light was overwhelming, like a great demon covering the world. The endless demonic light collided with the divine light. Time and space were shattered. Lin Chen's black hair was like the wind, without the slightest thought of retreating. He directly entered the void with the giant demon where to fight on a wider battlefield. Roar, the 10,000 demons giant roared, and endless magic light bloomed. Lin Chen's eyes were like lightning, and he appeared in front of the 10,000 demons giant at top speed. He held the origin and soul of the Templar Angel in his right hand and smashed directly towards the 10,000 demons giant. Damn it, the angel of the temple screamed. He was a little crazy. When did he become a weapon and was actually used to hit people? What do you call it? I think of you because I think highly of you, so don't be ungrateful, Lin Chen said indifferently, with a terrifying light in his eyes, and endless laws evolving in his eyes. He picked up the origin of the Templar Angel, wrapped it in the light of order, and smashed it towards the 10,000 demons giant. The attitude of a fanatic was revealed. The demon giant kept roaring, the demonic light was overwhelming, and the boundless demonic nature gathered on his fist. Lin Chen had a glimmer of light in his eyes. He had no idea of evading. He directly faced the origin of the Templar Angel from the front. For Lin Chen, this is an opportunity to speed up the opportunity to destroy the Templar Angels. Damn it, the soul of the Templar Angel is rioting and roaring. On the one hand, it is resisting Lin Chen's refining, and on the other hand, it is resisting the attack of the 10,000 demon giants. Die, Lin Chen looked at the Templar Angel with a terrifying luster in his eyes. The Templar Angel was unwilling to give in and roared, but was surrounded by Lin Chen's chain of order. There was no way to escape, and he could only withstand the attack of the 10,000 demon giants head on. Come again, Lin Chen had a hint of rage in his eyes. As for the 10,000 demons giant, there is no rush to solve it now. After all, the 10,000 demons giant is now a tool man who accelerates the refining of the Templar Angels. Lin Chen kept talking to the 10,000 demons. The giants collided. The Templar Angel suffered a serious blow. In order to survive, the Templar Angel had to take the initiative to resist Lin Chen's power. This also led to Lin Chen not caring at all and constantly attacking the 10,000 demon giants. I'm not willing to give in, the voice of the Templar Angel sounded with a trace of resentment. After countless collisions, the Templar Angel still could not survive the siege from two sides. Lin Chen was refining and the 10,000 demon giants were attacking. As a result, the Templar Angel was so suppressed. He was so embarrassed that he died. If Lin Chen relied on himself to refine it, he didn't know how long it would take. At least in a short period of time, Lin Chen would not be able to refine the Templar Angel. However, due to the existence of the external force of the 10,000 demon giant, it is not that difficult for Lin Chen to refine the Templar Angel. This is also thanks to the fact that the demon giant is just a beast with no power and no reason. Otherwise, Lin Chen would not be so easy. Now Lin Chen looked at the 10,000 demon giant with a faint look, and swallowed up the origin of the temple angel in one bite. The sacred light was blooming, but it was quickly suppressed by Lin Chen. The boundless magic light was behind Lin Chen. Rising. Like a terrifying demon, Lin Chen suppressed, swallowed, and refined the origin of the Templar Angel. He did not give the Templar Angel any chance at all. Kill, Lin Chen made a fist seal with his hand, directly destroying the void. The body of the 10,000 demon giants collapsed. A group of terrifying origins echoed in the void, and the soul of the 10,000 demon giants was roaring, trying to reorganize. But the next moment the origin was once again destroyed. Shattered. Lin Chen didn't have the slightest idea of holding back. He directly grabbed the origin of the 10,000 demonic giants, and the light of order stirred. The original soul of the 10,000 demonic giants was being continuously refined by Lin Chen. Lin Chen didn't stop for a step and directly stepping out of the void and returning to the battlefield of the main world. Holding a ball of deep origin exuding demonic power in his right hand, the soul of the demon giant is still struggling. Under the starry sky, terrifying Dharma appearances are killing the gods. It was a scene of doomsday elegies, and the light of dusk continued to bloom on the battlefield. Lin Chen looked at the whole world and knew that the world was becoming more powerful. Every corpse of a god was a big thing to a small world. Tonic. Billions of gods have fallen. It is also useful for the main world. While it continues to become stronger, some strange things are also born. One after another, the origins are plundered by Lin Chen's Dharma. Really, this guy the Lord of Desire looked at the origin of the 10,000 demon giants in Lin Chen's hands. What's wrong? Jealous Lord said with a chuckle. I want this guy. Since my toy was killed by him, should he also replace my toy? The Lord of Desire murmured. Lin Chen's combat power is only in the realm of gods. The Lord is an existence beyond the gods, not a creature of the same dimension. Without Chenju, he will never have the capital to fight against the Lord. If you can do that, I have no problem with it, Jealousy Lord said with a chuckle on his lips. The void fluctuated. A terrifying demon god came out of the void. Arrogant Lord. Then abyss after abyss, a total of 5 figures appeared in Desire Lord and Jealousy Lord around. You are late, Jealous Lord said lightly. I encountered some trouble on the road and finally got out of it, the arrogant king said with a hint of helplessness. Trouble? Those troubles won't come with us, Jealous Lord said lightly. No, but it's not easy for them to come back, the arrogant Lord said lightly, the black wings behind his back blooming with a terrifying light. Arrogance, jealousy, desire, lust, gluttony, greed, laziness, rage, the 7 lords of the abyss. They are also the 7 lords of the abyss. Each generation. They all have inheritance and master the 7 original sins. Has anyone else arrived yet? The lazy king said with a trace of laziness. His expression was lazy, as leisurely as if he was taking a walk. It should be almost done. The king of desire looks at the queen of blades, the lord of flesh and blood. Beast Tamer, Divine Beast Tamer. Author, I am Lao Wu. Chapter 472. Almost there, still on the way, the Queen of Blades said calmly. The Lord of the Dark Dimension shivered. To be precise, he did not dare to speak. The Lord of Flesh and Blood in the subspace sent out a chaotic fluctuation. The approximate meaning was similar to that of the Queen of Blades. Let's start, the Lord of Desire said with a hint of fire in his eyes. In that case, let's start, the arrogant Lord nodded. A strange symbol appeared behind the 7 kings. Or eyes, or scales, or double swords, the brand of original sin. The brand of the 7 original Sin Kings. The original Sin King is special even in the abyss. Existence. Mastering the power of the 7 original sins in the world. Each represents the power of a kind of original sin. The brilliance of the 7th arrival rises. The divine power of the 7 original Sin Kings condenses in the past, and a simple door appears behind the 7 people. The door to original sin, open, the 7 original sins king roared. The original sin symbol representing their identity was directly integrated into the gate of original sin. The gate of original sin was also called the gate of great sin. The terrifying door that can connect to the abyss. Legions came out one after another, each the leader of each legion is a king. The Great King. The original Sin Legion. The troops directly under the 7 original sins king. They have fought in countless dimensions, and they are all the elites among the elites. In the God Burial Star territory. Lin Chen's eyelids jumped wildly, it seemed as if something bad was about to happen. Torrents of terror appeared in Lin Chen's eyes. A legion composed of demons, a legion more terrifying than the Angel Legion. A direct unit of the 7 deadly sins king. What a joke, Lin Chen gritted his teeth. Looking at the original Sin legions, although they were all legions composed of middle-level demon gods and high-level demon gods. But this kind of legion was different from the wild demon gods. The aura of destruction emerged. This is the original Sin army. The 7 deadly sins. The legion commander stood quietly behind the 7 deadly sins king. They were like the shadow of the 7 deadly sins king, saying nothing. Although they were also great kings, they were still far behind the 7 deadly sins king. Roar, the terrifying demonic sound is echoing. The endless original Sin army is attacking the border. Lin Chen's face becomes very ugly. Such an army is not comparable to the wild demon. Those who can enter are all elites, and they have fought. I don't know how many dimensions. They are all accumulated with blood and battle results. Lin Chen now knows the true cruelty of dimensions. Where are these legions fighting for dimensions? Lin Chen's fingers are shining, not knowing what to do, but the only thing he can do is all he could do was to stand on the front line. Yaishan appeared next to Lin Chen. You should break through to the upper-level demon god now. Leave it to me here, Yaishan said lightly. After a moment, a huge chessboard appeared in the God Burial Star territory. No regrets, a black chess piece fell. The original Sin Legion roared, and every demon god was synchronized with terrifying synchronization. A strange mark appeared in the sky above the original Sin Legion, the symbol of double swords. The symbol of the furious original sin. Intertwined with endless power, it directly broke through. It only took a moment to open the chessboard. Yaishan's face turned ugly. It seems that there is no other way. Lin Chen said lightly, looking at this scene. These original Sin legions are basically integrated into one existence. Each one is a separate individual, but it is also a large whole. Under the resonance, it can burst out endless great power. Rebellion, Lin Chen's black hair was like the wind, his fingers intertwined, and the ultimate brilliant light bloomed. Even the origin of the 10,000 demonic giants also thought about the legion of original sin. The symbol of the double swords appeared again. Lin Chen's eyes were filled with a glimmer of light. The first thing to bear the brunt was the origin and soul of the 10,000 demon giants, which were torn apart in an instant. The power of this legion's resonance has surpassed the category of gods. This is the most terrifying thing. I finally know why the Templar angels were refined so quickly, the Lord of Desire said lightly. Looking at the soul of the demon giant that was wiped out, he felt speechless in his heart. The corner of Nivis's mouth also twitched. Lin Chen's actions just now told them why he was able to kill him so quickly. The original soul of the Templar angel was wiped out, so he used his strength to fight. It turns out that this is the case. But he is still going to die, and the original Sin army is not something he can resist, Jealousy Lord said lightly. Desire Lord nodded unequivocally. Lin Chen's eyes were solemn. Although he had recovered the origin of the 10,000 demon giants, at that moment, the power burst out by the original Sin army was very terrifying. Instantly tore apart the souls of the demon giants. This was something Lin Chen did not expect. Mud, Lin Chen had a fierce light in his eyes, and the gangster spirit came up. Return, Lin Chen roared loudly, and the entire burial star territory was shaking. One after another, the Dharma appearances returned with terrifying origins and integrated into Lin Chen's body. The Dragon Demon, God King, Insect God, Evil Lord, and the four major Dharma appearances returned, with the origin of terror directly integrated into Lin Chen himself. "You are crazy." Yishan looked at Lin Chen and said with a hint of solemnity in his eyes. "Crazy? No, I know exactly what I'm doing," Lin Chen said in a deep voice. "The origins of each Dharma plunder are tens of thousands, including gods, demons, angels, and evil gods. Every time a Dharma image returns, Lin Chen's body trembles. Cracks appear in the body. The origin of terror, the power bloomed in Lin Chen's body. The immortal true dragon method is working," Lin Chen roared, his long black hair dancing in the wind. The original Sin army came to attack. "Not crazy, not live," Lin Chen said in a deep voice, his whole body was shining to the extreme, exuding a terrifying light. "The immeasurable and endless power of the heavens returns to me," Lin Chen roared with a loud demonic voice. Far away in other dimensions, the Empress and others also felt the changes in Lin Chen. After becoming gods, the Empress and others left Lin Chen and went to the endless void to search for return to a world that suits them. This is the path of the Star Beast. All they have to do is to continue to become stronger before returning. "Master, wait for me." With endless light in her eyes, the Empress entered a dimensional world and began her journey of self-evolution. Crazy, Yishan looked at Lin Chen. Even though he was a high-ranking demon god, his head was numb when he looked at Lin Chen. This guy has forced himself into a desperate situation, either life or death. "Kill." Lin Chen had a fierce light in his eyes. With one step, the entire star field was trembling. "You must know that this is the God burial star field. Countless gods have died here. They have become very strong a long time ago, but because of Lin Chen with Chen's step, the entire star field is trembling." You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Beast Tamer, Divine Beast Tamer. Author, I am Lao Wu. Chapter 473. The original Sin Legion roared, the symbols of the double swords appeared again, and a brilliant and ultimate divine light directly tore through the entire starry sky and struck Lin Chen. There was a glint in Lin Chen's eyes, and he didn't care about the divine light coming at him. "Kill." Lin Chen's eyes were violent, and countless cracks appeared in his body, and he collided directly with the original Sin Legion. The original Sin Legion is the power of a legion. It is not that 1 + 1 = 2, but the effect is greater than 2, not to mention it's not as simple as 1 + 1. Without the slightest surprise, Lin Chen's body was directly destroyed and turned into endless fragments. The source was blooming and the body was reorganized. The immortal breath was flowing. Rebellion, the ultimate light of the brilliant road bloomed. The light of the avenue bloomed, and the fragments of time and space were flying. Lin Chen's eyes had a hint of terrifying depth. Eternity was twisting, and the endless divine light reversed everything. The original Sin army suffered a serious blow for the first time. This guy, the arrogant lord, looked at Lin Chen with undisguised murderous intent in his eyes. The Lord of Desire and the Lord of Jealousy did not expect that Lin Chen could actually stop the pace of the original Sin army. Eternal destruction. Lin Chen took a step forward, endless light of destruction emerged in his eyes, and the ancient musical scale came out from Lin Chen's mouth. This is the embodiment of the Great Road, a carrier of the road, and is no longer the language of human beings or any race. This is the voice of Tao. Endless aura of destruction is coming. Lin Chen himself is also collapsing. Does this guy want to drag the original Sin Legion with him to be buried with him? The lazy king said lightly, looking at Lin Chen's actions with disillusioned eyes. He was collapsing, and cracks appeared in his origin. It's ridiculous, even if the original Sin Legion is destroyed, as long as we are still there, reorganization will only happen in an instant. Ants are always ants, the furious king said calmly. They are just ants after all. Although it is worthy of admiration, they are still ants after all, the greedy king said with disdain. Ants? I don't think the immortal dragon will die so easily, the arrogant king said calmly. As the strongest king among the 7 deadly sins, the other 6 kings did not believe the words of the arrogant king, but they still felt more or less in their hearts. The immortal dragons of the past dynasties were all weaklings who could not be killed. Ghosts. I know whether this generation of immortal true dragons are still invincible. Xiaoqiang. Lin Chen's body is reincarnating between collapse and reorganization. This is a terrible disaster. Lin Chen's body is no longer stable and has swallowed too many other races. The source of alienation is intensifying. Lin Chen's strength is also getting stronger, but this is not a good thing. Lin Chen's body shape is changing, growing some non-human features, such as tentacles, wings, horns, and tails. This is not a good thing. This means that Lin Chen himself is changing and moving towards a foreign race. This is not what Lin Chen wants to see. The will is immortal. From ancient times to the present, behead, an infinite knife appeared on Lin Chen's head, completely cutting off all the non-human things. This is a terrible suffering. Every time it is cut off, it will grow again. For Lin Chen, it is not what a good thing. The repeated pains were also tempered, making Lin Chen's own will stronger. The original Sin army attacked again. Lin Chen strode loudly, and his body was distorted, but he still maintained human characteristics. This is a trial and a transformation. If I can't succeed, it means I can only get here, Lin Chen said lightly, with a very firm mind. He strode forward and appeared in front of the original Sin army. He wanted to take an extreme route and use the original Sin army to hone himself, complete his own transformation and sublimation, and completely reach the top. The realm of gods. This is a road that no one has ever walked before. No one has ever been able to go from a lower god to a higher god in such a short time. Most gods spend endless years slowly tempering themselves. Realm. He has reached the realm of a superior god. But Lin Chen is different. He has no time, or in other words, time does not wait for him to grow up. The enemy will not give this chance. Lin Chen also does not like to put his hope in the hands of other people. This is Lin Chen's creed. The only one who can save himself is himself. Kill. Lin Chen entered the Legion of Original Sin and was constantly bleeding. For Lin Chen, this was just a kind of tempering. The body was constantly reorganizing. It was reincarnated between constant collapses. Yaishan took a deep breath and looked. Xiang Lin Chen's choice. All he could do was stick to his position. Time passed slowly. The original Sin army stopped its pace. Lin Chen kept fighting in the original Sin army, and his body was between collapse and reorganization. Reincarnation. 100 years have passed. Lin Chen collapsed and reorganized again and again, his body became more terrifying, and the aura of immortality filled the air. For the gods, 100 years is just a matter of a snap of a finger. Got through it. Lin Chen's eyes bloomed with endless divine brilliance, interpreting terrifying power fluctuations. Over the past 100 years, Lin Chen's body has been reorganized countless times. But all this has become the past, and now Lin Chen has survived. He was almost killed by the original Sin army several times, but Lin Chen survived. His body was incredibly hard, the aura of eternal immortality was permeating the air, his whole body was blooming with divine light, and a divine will appeared behind Lin Chen's head. Condensed. The power of terrifying laws. This is Lin Chen's own transformation, and it is also a sign of the superior gods. Come here, it's a pity that you couldn't kill me. Lin Chen grinned and looked at the original Sin army with a cold expression. Over the past 100 years, thanks to you, I must repay you well, Lin Chen said with a smile on his lips. The breath of terror was filling the air, and endless laws were emerging. Lin Chen's eyes had an endless fierce light. In the name of the immortal true dragon, I invite Yan Huang to descend, Lin Chen roared, and the sound penetrated the stars. Yan Huang's will came. Lin Chen's whole body was blooming with golden light. This guy actually made it through, which is really interesting, the Lord of Desire said with a smile on his face. This is not a good thing. Yan and Huang are coming out. The lazy king looked at the general Yan Huang with a hint of vigilance in his eyes. It doesn't matter. It's nothing to us anyway, right? Jealous Lord shrugged. Even though he said that, he saw that Lin Chen really got through it. Jealous Lord was still a little unhappy. They don't want to take action? It's not that they don't want to, but they can't. With the existence of Yan Huang, who among them, if they really make a move, that one will suffer a heavy blow. Even if they can't kill Lin Chen, even if they lower their thoughts to kill, they will also lose their own face, so they won't do that. Beast Tamer, Divine Beast Tamer. Author, I am Lao Wu. Chapter 474. In fact, this is also true. For a special being like Lin Chen, even if Zhejian wanted to kill Lin Chen, he would have to do it himself. As long as the lowered killing intent is not a direct killing, Lin Chen will not have any problems. If Zhejian takes action, he will inevitably encounter terrible things, which they don't want to face. Yan Huang is coming. This is the second time Lin Chen has used this ability. This is the unique ability of Yan Huang 100 Dragons. As inheritors, their mission is to protect the Yan Huang Empire, and the same is true for Yan Huang. The aura on Lin Chen's body was soaring. I have just stepped into the upper realm, but the aura on my body is still rising. Kill, billions of radiance bloomed. For Lin Chen, these original Sin legions were the best medicine. The aura of invincibility filled the air. Eternal great annihilation, the ancient musical scale came out from Lin Chen's mouth, the great Dao Tianyin. Great destruction came. The terrifying meaning of annihilation came. For the original Sin Legion, this was a great destruction. The endless light of annihilation bloomed. The original Sin Legion collapsed. Endless divine light bloomed, and Lin Chen stepped out of the legion step by step. Endless divine light bloomed, and a terrifying aura filled the air, intertwined with the terrifying divine splendor. Constantly strangulating original Sin. Jun Jun. Half-step ancestor, the corner of Desire Lord's mouth twitched. With the blessing of Yan Huang, this guy has reached the half-step ancestor, which is difficult now, the lazy king said with a hint of laziness in his mouth. What a troublesome character, the arrogant monarch frowned, with a hint of irritation in his eyes. They wanted to take action, but they were wary. But having said that, what should we do now? The Lord of the Dark Dimension said with a hoarse voice. The King of Seven Deadly Sins looked at the Lord of the Dark Dimension with a trace of disdain in his eyes. This guy hid himself very well, not only obliterating his own breath. Even traces all wiped out. It's impossible to trace where this guy's dimension is. So far, he has not revealed his true face. What can be done? A young dragon and a king, drag him on the road together, the Lord of Desire said with a trace of violent murderous intent in his eyes. Their patience was limited. They were blocked by Lin Chen again and again, and countless murderous intents had already appeared in their hearts. Arrogant and others nodded. The commander of the original Sin Legion behind the 7 people moved. A king-level existence, a serious monarch. An ancestor god-level existence. It is not comparable to the parallel import king of Nivis. Also, only a place like the Abyss does not regard the existence of the Great Lord level as a human being. 7 terrifying demons appeared in the star field. Lin Chen's eyes were filled with terrifying light, and the essence of his body was trembling. He looked at the boundary of the star field in the distance. A terrifying knight appeared at the border of the god burial star territory. His whole body was covered with black metal and shrouded in endless black light. The arrogant original Sin Legion commander. Then a giant demon with different shapes appeared in the star territory. The margins seemed to cover the sky, and each statue was a monarch-level existence. Commander of the 7 Deadly Sins army. These guys, Yishin's pupils shrank. It was impossible not to notice the existence of these guys. The blood in Lin Chen's body is transforming, getting stronger, and the speed has not stagnated. Although he has entered the realm of the higher gods, the transformation has not been completed yet. Too much of the origin is still deposited in the body, which needs to be digested and time to be slowly erased. Lin Nianjing's body, far away in the celestial star territory, is glowing. His young body is constantly blooming with golden light, and the golden blood in his body is reviving. It seems that it is reviving. A young wild dragon. Cracks appeared in the surrounding space. Father, what is this? Alair looked at his father and asked, looking at Lin Niancheng with worry in his eyes. He was fine just now, but now something like this happened. Alair also panicked for a moment. Don't worry, this is a good thing. The blood in this child's body is transforming, and it is extremely terrifying. It is actually devouring the blood of the God Emperor, Alair's father said with a glint in his eyes. He could feel the extremely terrifying power contained in the blood of Lin Nianjing's young body. It was like a hidden dragon. He could soar into the sky just waiting for the opportunity. Who is his father? Why is there such a terrifying bloodline? Alair's father asked Alair. Alair looked at Lin Niancheng in silence. Human race. Human race, Alair's father had a hint of astonishment in his eyes. Originally, Lin Nianjing's father might be a descendant of some ancient race. But he didn't expect that he was actually a human race. The human race is not bad either. The bloodline in Niancheng's body is awakening. Because of his father integrated his own Taoism into his own bloodline. Now that his father has made a breakthrough, Niancheng has his father's blood flowing in his body and is constantly transforming. This is a good thing. Niancheng will also become stronger and have more potential. But Niancheng is still too young now. It is okay for these things to transform slowly, but it is not a good thing for gods to have unlimited surges in strength. Since he has the blood of the human race, he can of course follow the human race's method of controlling beasts and combine it with the deity's fighting methods of the deity clan. Niancheng will definitely be even better than his father in the future. As he said this, a golden light appeared in the palm of Alair's father's hand and was directly imprinted on Lin Nianjing's body. Father, what are you doing? Alair looked at his father and couldn't understand. This is a seal. His father's bloodline is too domineering, which is not a good thing for Niancheng's growth. It is sealed now and he will slowly unlock it later, Alair's father said in a deep voice. But his face was a little serious. He was the ancestor god. When he sealed the power of Lin Nianjing's blood, he actually felt a little difficult. Of course, it was partly because he was afraid of hurting Lin Niancheng. Thank you, father. Alair regained his composure and said to his father. After the seal was over, Lin Niancheng slowly opened his eyes, with a trace of doubt in his eyes. His body was still like that of a 2 or 3-year-old child. But he was extremely intelligent and he has known many things since he was a child. Alair hugged Lin Niancheng with a maternal smile on his face. But his eyes were looking into the distance, in the human star field. Something happened somewhere. Daughter, if you want Niancheng to grow up better, you'd better go to the human star field to study. After all, Niancheng can follow the path of controlling beasts. This is a path unique to humans. Although the celestial clan also understands it, they still have no idea about this aspect. No human race knows much, Alair's father said slowly. Knowing her father, when Nian Cheng is older, her daughter will take Nian Cheng to live in the human starfield, Alair said in a deep voice. Beast Tamer, Divine Beast Tamer. Author, I am Lao Wu. Chapter 475. God Burial Star Territory. Lin Chen looked at the 7 terrifying and abnormal lords of the abyss who appeared on the edge with serious eyes. Each of these guys has a mortal sin symbol on them. Or eyes, or double swords, or scales, etc. The mark of the 7 deadly sins. This is interesting. Lin Chen squinted his eyes slightly, his body glowing with immortal light. The meaning of why these original Sin army commanders appeared at the border was already obvious. These guys, Yaishan took a deep breath and looked at Lin Chen. Lin Chen's existence destroyed the balance. The other side of the abyss wanted to destroy Lin Chen at all costs. Kill, the galaxy shook, and a terrifying sound of killing shattered half of the sky. Cracks appeared on Lin Chen's body. With just a sound, countless cracks appeared on Lin Chen's immortal body, as if it was about to explode. Come to yourself. Of these guys, Lin Chen had a fierce light in his eyes. Are you coward? It doesn't exist. How can he be coward now? The 7 kings have made it clear that they want to kill themselves. They want to completely erase themselves. This is something Lin Chen did not expect. The Black Knight was as big as a planet, and the black horse under his crotch directly trampled the void, driving the galaxy towards Lin Chen. A king-level existence. A surefire situation. Hold head high, with a golden dragon roar, Yan Huang took action. A huge golden dragon appeared on the battlefield. The presence of the monarch directly escalated the war. Bang! The galaxy exploded. The Black Knight's body collapsed, and the next, after a moment of reorganization, without any intention of retreating, he drove the galaxy towards Lin Chen and attacked again. Do you really think I'm easy to bully? Lin Chen's black hair was like the wind, flying freely. A terrifying aura emerged on Lin Chen's body. The God King, the Dragon Demon, the Evil God, and the Insect God appeared behind Lin Chen. Yan Huang was restrained. The 6 great appearances. The leader of the original Sin army was a prince-level village. He was holding Yan Huang in check. To be precise, he did not hesitate to hold back his own princely origins. He created an opportunity for the Black Knight to kill Lin Chen. Roar, the dragon demon roared, shaking the star field. Finally, it turned into endless demonic nature and integrated into Lin Chen himself. The evil god, God King, and insect god were broken one by one. Although they were integrated into Lin Chen's body, divinity and demonic nature were intertwined. In Lin Chen's body became more and more upright. His hair turned half black and half white. The Dharma. It is the embodiment of Lin Chen's own Taoism, and it is also Lin Chen's own storage of those who have swallowed up the living beings. The place of sustenance can also be turned into a tomb. The God King is the tomb of the god, the dragon demon is the tomb of the devil, the insect god is the tomb of the insect race, and the evil god is the tomb of evil things. It is not just as simple as the Dharma, but also the burial of countless the divinity, demonic nature and the unique wildness of the Zerg, already the evil nature of the evil god. Lin Chen's aura surged again. Kill, Lin Chen took one step, and the sun and moon reversed. The stars were spinning. The Golden Fist Prince burst out directly. They collided head-on with the monarch-level Black Knight. Lin Chen's body collapsed without any accident. The next moment, the body was reorganized again, the endless killing thoughts of the generals, the ancestor-level killing thoughts. Lin Chen was shattered again. Lin Chen was robbed. He encountered something unimaginable. The opponent was far more powerful than Lin Chen's own existence. Ancestor, that is an existence beyond the gods. Damn it, Lin Chen's face was gloomy and dripping with tears. There was unwillingness in his eyes. Give himself another 100 years, no, 10 years, 10 years. Lin Chen will have the confidence to step into the path of the ancestor. Even if he cannot, even if he faces the ancestor, he will be worthy of it. But now there is no such time. Neither Lin Chen nor the Abysside wants to drag it out any longer. Lin Chen's appearance ruined Abyss's plan. As long as Lin Chen is here, Zhejian without being able to take action, Yan Huang's strength cannot be consumed at all. This is why Abyss has to pay such a high price to wipe out Lin Chen. Reverse chaos forever, the demonic sound echoed, Lin Chen went crazy, and his body was bleeding, but he did not retreat and could not retreat. The Black Knight's eyes were cold. The spear in his hand penetrated the galaxy, and a simple blow brought a fatal blow to Lin Chen. Damage. The difference is too far. Lin Chen, who has just arrived at the upper level of the gods, cannot defeat the ancestor. You should also learn the basics of cheating. The current Lin Chen's strength is only at the half-ancestor level. Grass, Lin Chen's body reorganized again, with a fierce light in his eyes. A great terror struck. Lin Chen's body collapsed again. Endless Lin Chen murmured, his body was reorganized, and the brilliance of divinity and magic bloomed at the same time. This is not a good thing for Lin Chen. I am immortal, come and kill me, try it. Lin Chen had a violent and rebellious aura in his eyes. Endless fragments of time were flying. The Black Knight, the war horse under his feet collapsed. This is the first time Lin Chen has hurt the Black Knight. But that's all. The war horse condensed again came out. The spear in the Black Knight's hand bloomed with black light. It was like a million black suns blooming at the same time. The black divine light penetrated the galaxy. It was compressed to the extreme and directly collapsed Lin Chen's body. What? There is nothing left. The Black Knight stands quietly under the starry sky, like an invincible terrifying existence, riding the starry sky and driving the galaxy. Grass, a scolding sound. Lin Chen's body reorganized again. There was a fierce light in Lin Chen's eyes, but more of it was helplessness. He was unable to cause any danger to the Black Knight. Instead, he collapsed again and again. This is helpless. The gap that was crossed was terrifying and abnormal, but it also made Lin Chen feel very helpless. The Black Knight waved the spear again, with cold eyes. It penetrated directly through Lin Chen's body. The next moment, the Black Knight's body collapsed. Yan Huang took action. Yan Huang took action. He was held back by the other 6 desperate ancestors, but he still freed up his hands to talk about the collapse of the Black Knight again. It relieved Lin Chen's pressure. What the hell? Lin Chen gritted his teeth, reorganized his body and looked at the Black Knight. Are you a human being? Lin Chen said angrily. He didn't have any temper after being beaten. He was beaten unilaterally. This can be regarded as the benefit of maxing out his defense. If it were someone else, he would have died countless times. In other words, Lin Chen can still be alive and kicking now. Come again. Lin Chen had a fierce light in his eyes. Although the Black Knight was powerful, he would not be able to kill him for a while, and Yan Huang would weaken the Black Knight from time to time. For Lin Chen, this was an opportunity to hone himself. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Beast Tamer, Divine Beast Tamer. Author, I am Lao Wu. Chapter 476. Kill. Lin Chen stepped on his feet at top speed and took the initiative to attack. Instead of being beaten passively, it is better to take the initiative. Anyway, it's okay to be blown up. Lin Chen's body collapsed without any accident. The next moment, Lin Chen's body reorganized again. Appeared. In front of the Black Knight. A bright golden light rose. A round of golden fist seals directly shattered the galaxy and attacked the Black Knight. The Black Knight's expression did not change at all, and the spear in his hand thrust out, shattering Lin Chen's fist seals. At the same time, Lin Chen was also nailed to the void. Mad, that's how it feels. Lin Chen looked at the black spear that stabbed his body on his chest. In the past, he had nailed his enemies. Now, it is really God's way of reincarnation. Who will be spared? With a fierce light in Lin Chen's eyes, he chose himself. The broken and reassembled body appeared in front of the Black Knight. Destroy the world, Lin Chen roared, and the heavenly sound of the avenue emerged. It resonated with the avenue. The endless meaning of annihilation bloomed. The divine light was bright, and the armor on the Black Knight was shattered. A pale face was revealed. Lin Chen had a hint of shock. Then in his eyes with a trace of disgust. Human race. The Black Knight is a human race. But now he has become the executioner of the abyss. Although Lin Chen had long known that someone had taken refuge in the abyss, he never thought that he would encounter it again. Die, the Black Knight looked at Lin Chen indifferently. The knight's spear in his hand directly destroyed Lin Chen's body. The divine light disappeared. Lin Chen's body reorganized again. He looked at the Black Knight with a very ugly expression. Why? Lin Chen looked at the Black Knight and asked, wondering why a Black Knight who could reach the level of an ancestor would seek refuge in the abyss. Without saying a word, the Black Knight held the spear in his hand, destroying eternity, and attacked Lin Chen directly. Lin Chen's body collapsed. Lin Chen gritted his teeth and fired a terrifying divine light. The Black Knight waved the divine light and the divine light collapsed, and the horse under his feet once again trampled towards Lin Chen. Roll, Lin Chen had a terrifying light in his eyes. The center of his eyebrows was shining, and the chaotic divine light was filling the air, instantly penetrating the Black Knight's body. The Black Knight was stunned for a moment, looking at his chest. Although it was an insignificant wound, it was Lin Chen who really hurt him. You are very good, the Black Knight's voice was dry and hoarse. It seemed as if he hadn't spoken for hundreds of millions of years, with a strange accent. Why? Lin Chen asked the Black Knight with confusion. What why? The Black Knight looked at Lin Chen indifferently. Why take refuge in the abyss? Lin Chen looked at Lin Chen with anger in his eyes. Is this what you're talking about? What does it matter? The Black Knight looked at Lin Chen indifferently and said, standing under the starry sky, his expression did not waver at all. What is the relationship? Damn it, you are a human race, Lin Chen said angrily. He couldn't understand why the Black Knight could take refuge in the abyss. As an ancestor, he has high-end combat power in any plane. Why? There is no question, if there is one to ask, it is that the person I once was is dead, the Black Knight said calmly with a dull look. He is from the Bald Eagle Empire Federation, Yishin's voice sounded. Lin Chen looked at Yishin coming from a distance. Long time no see, Rawls, Yishin looked at the Black Knight with a hint of complexity in his eyes. Finally, under the broken mask of the Black Knight, Yishin recognized Rawls. Yishin, Rawls looked at Yishin with some surprise. Yishin's eyes became even more complicated. What's happening here? Lin Chen murmured and asked Yi Tian. Come back, Rawls. Yishin asked Rawls. No need, I lived a good life in the abyss. The person I once was is completely dead, Rawls said lightly, with endless black light emerging from his body. Grass, Lin Chen had a glimmer of light in his eyes, and his hands evolved into 9 terrifying worlds. He collided with the Black Knight. Rawls. This shit couldn't be caused by those stupid nobles. Lin Chen took a deep breath and asked Yi Tian. Yi Tian didn't need to tell him. Lin Chen probably knew why Rawls turned to the abyss, and also said that he was already dead. Yi Tian was unobservable. Nod. Damn it, those naughty nobles really need to sacrifice themselves to heaven. Lin Chen was itching with hatred. How stupid can he be to send an ancestor-level creature to the abyss camp? The kind that can't be resolved. Lin Chen looked at Yi Tian and asked. Yi Tian shook his head. In a head-on solution, his wife, children, and parents all died in the hands of those great nobles, and those great nobles also returned the favor to Rawls, who used him as his chess pieces. Eat the meat made from the corpses of your parents. Don't think that those great nobles have a lower limit, there is none. This led to the birth of a truly desperate king-level figure. I live to take revenge and destroy the entire human federation, Rawls said calmly, with a flat tone, filled with overwhelming hatred. Even if he spends all the money in the world, he can't wash away the overwhelming hatred. Human Federation? This is easy to say. Now that the Yanhuang Empire has separated from the Federation, boss, if you want to take revenge, you can do whatever you want, Lin Chen said with a smile on his face. Yi Tian's face turned dark. You must know that the Human Federation is still supporting the Yanhuang Empire. Are you serious? There is no relationship, they are all the same. The Yanhuang Empire is the first battle, Rawls said lightly, holding the knight's spear high again. Grass, Lin Chen had a hint of vigilance in his eyes. It's not an easy thing for a body to collapse. Now I'm going to get serious, Rawls said lightly. The power of the ancestor level was blooming. At this time, Lin Chen Kaisha felt the gap between himself and the ancestor level existence. The overflowing fluctuations made Lin Chen's body tremble. Get out of the way, Lin Chen said to Yi Tian. He could survive, but he didn't know if Yi Tian could survive. Yi Tian also had a serious face, and of course he didn't want to die like this. He just slipped away. Depend on, Lin Chen curled his lips. Immortal divine light bloomed on Lin Chen's body. The ancestral level power crushed him directly. Lin Chen's body collapsed without any surprise. The next moment the body also collapsed. Then it reassembled again. Lin Chen gritted his teeth and looked at everything in front of him, and said something. Lin Chen was also holding his breath in his heart after being beaten for so long. It would be fake to not be angry. Damn it, come again, Lin Chen fell directly into a rage, and the bright divine light bloomed, attacking Rawls directly. Beast Tamer, Divine Beast Tamer. Author, I am Lao Wu. Chapter 477. There was a dull look in Rawls's eyes, and the heavy knight's spear bloomed with a gleam like the original darkness. Gun of despair, Rawls said lightly, the spear in his hand would come out, and his body would collapse again. Lin Chen was surrounded by the light of despair. The boundless silence enveloped Lin Chen in loneliness. This is Rawls's Tao and law, in despair. The Tao fruits and flowers blooming in it. This is everything Rawls experienced that constitutes Rawls' Taoism. The boundless despair and silence, as if the heaven and earth are cut off from it. Grass, Lin Chen had a divine light in his eyes. Regarding Rawls' Taoism, there were fluctuations in his heart, and a breath of despair filled the air. There was boundless silence and loneliness in it. And a murderous intention that could tear the universe apart. Lin Chen's the body reincarnates between collapse and reorganization. The body and mind accept the baptism of despair and death. Thousands of years of silence, 10,000 years of loneliness, I am eternal. The immortal divine light bloomed on Lin Chen's body, brilliant to the extreme. The heavenly sound of the avenue bloomed. The aura of immortality filled the air, and there was a hint of light in Lin Chen's eyes. Endless loneliness and death. The will is immortal. From ancient times to the present, Lin Chen's immortal will was revealed, and he walked out of the light of despair with boundless loneliness and death in his eyes. Rawls looked at Lin Chen with surprise in his eyes. He didn't expect Lin Chen to be able to emerge from the light of despair. He walked out. Yanhuang had just taken action again to crush Rawls, and also helped Lin Chen from the side. Although Lin Chen walked out of the light of despair, it also brought about powerful sequelae, the loneliness in his eyes. Death cannot be concealed. After all, it is a king-level Tao method. It is not something Lin Chen can resist. His body and mind are infected by the Tao. Lin Chen is in a state of collapse. Grass, Lin Chen was filled with anger, but he also knew that the despair method was still eroding his heart. Yes, he is indeed the Yanhuang 100 Dragons. Rolls looked at Lin Chen with a trace in his eyes. Lin Chen was not lost yet. Although he was eroded by his own Taoism, it could be seen that Lin Chen was still resisting. Although he was still struggling, he was being eroded and fell into despair is just a matter of time. Pity Rolls shook his head. Without saying anything, he rode his horse across the sky, drove the stars, and walked toward the border. Hey, you bastard, I'm not dead yet. Lin Chen had a fierce light in his eyes. The aura of the 9 origins emerged, and the god-killing war spear condensed out. The light overflowed, and the fragments of time and space were flying. The bright god-killing war spear went directly towards Rawls. Rawls' figure did not change at all. The god-killing spear was broken and withered, with countless fragments scattered everywhere. Using the power of law will only make you die faster, Rawls said lightly. He didn't leave without turning his head. Lin Chen's Taoism was in chaos. There was an indelible loneliness and death in his eyes. He had reached the limit. His Taoism was on the verge of collapse. That was the Taoist level. Power has an impact on one's own will and soul. Although there is no external injury, this is undoubtedly a more terrifying thing. Hey, are you okay? Yaishan appeared next to Lin Chen and asked Lin Chen. Lin Chen shook his head and said nothing, but Yaishan could feel that Lin Chen's body was full of death and despair. On the edge of collapse. Wander. Maybe it's time for me to rest, Lin Chen said in a deep voice, with a trace of nostalgia in his eyes. He was affected by the Tao of despair. He was constantly being eaten away. He was heading towards the end. Yaishan's expression darkened. This is not a good thing. Rawls has reached the border. The body continued to collapse and reorganize. Under the Yanhuangwia, Rawls's figure gradually dimmed. That's enough, come back, your mission has been completed. The voice of Lord Desire rang in Rawls' ears. Rawls stared at the Yanhuang border for a long time, and then rode away from the Yanhuang border. Lin Chen returned to the ancestral star. His expression was like saying no. The unclear aura seemed to disappear at any time. Yaishan escorted Lin Chen back. Mr. Mu, Lin Chen looked at Mr. Mu with an ugly smile on his face. Well done. Mr. Mu smiled happily and looked at Lin Chen, with a hint of pride in his eyes. Mr. Mu, Lin Chen's current situation. Yaishan looked at Mr. Mu and said in a deep voice, with a hint of worry in his tone. Mr. Mu waved his hand, signaling Yaishan to stop talking. How do you feel now? Mr. Mu looked at Lin Chen and asked slowly. It feels like, it's really unpleasant, Lin Chen said with a smile, but the deathly silence and despair in his eyes were unavoidable. Although Lin Chen concealed it very well. But the eyes cannot deceive people. Take a good rest, this is the way of despair, Rawls's ancestral way. Eviction is not that simple. Mr. Mu said with a hint of sigh. Lin Chen was stunned for a moment, and then shook his head. He thought it was too simple. How could the Dao ancestor level method be solved so easily? It was because he thought things were too simple. It's easy to say it's simple, it's easy to say it's easy, it all depends on you. The path of despair is different from ordinary Taoism. It erodes your heart, Taoism, origin, and soul. But also, if you are strong-willed, it will to be able to erase all of this, break out of the cocoon and become a butterfly, and go one step further. Mr. Mu said with deep meaning in his eyes. Is that so? I see. Lin Chen took a deep breath and wrote down what Mr. Mu said, but Lin Chen is really not suitable for fighting now. Knowing how to use divine power and laws will only make him eroded even more. Have a good rest and look forward to the day you return. Mr. Mu said with profound eyes. Lin Chen nodded, and then left Mu Lao's mansion. Mr. Mu, Yaishan looked at Mr. Mu and said in a deep voice. You do not understand. Mr. Mu smiled and shook his head. This is his path. I can't change it, and I won't be able to change it in the future. Although I can do it, different changes will happen. Whether he can come out of it in the end depends on himself. No one else can help him. And I believe in him. He has grown beyond the immortal dragon of this generation cannot be trapped by this little trouble, so let him rest for a while. Mr. Mew said with a smile. Yaishan opened his mouth and didn't know what to say. Mr. Mew said this, and Yaishan couldn't say anything anymore. What a deal, Lin Chen said with a hint of helplessness, looking at the sky. The weather today is particularly bright. It's a good day to rest.